So there are residents in the little town of Sparta, Georgia, who are fighting eminent domain in order to keep a railroad company from putting tracks to actually taking some of their land and putting tracks through it. So we're going to look at a video over a particular family, one family in particular, who has about 600 acres, who is really fighting. But this is in this story we're going to get into about true ownership, the laws of the land, and actually how you should look at this a little differently than the way that we've been taught to look at land ownership or ownership period. Let's hit it.
Okay.
Driving across their nearly 600 acres
Yeah, you see a lot of the trees over there. You see the tops of them.
never gets old for Blaine and Diane Smith. The history just as rich as the timber crops they've been farming.
We used to go down there. It's a special rock that we like to sit on.
Blaine's enslaved ancestors lived and worked on this Sparta land. Now, he and his wife own the very property. The family among the less than 2% of Black farmers nationwide.
My father farmed this land almost all of his life. My grandfather farmed it most of his life. He bought it back in the 1920s. During that
Is that a white woman or is that an Indian? Indian, I'm sorry. Native American. Pay attention to that, y'all.
time, he raised cotton, corn, peas, all kinds of vegetables. It's still in the Smith family. Not one piece of it has gotten away.
Until this September, state leaders decided parts of the Sparta land are no longer theirs.
It's my property. You don't have the right to take.
But a private company does have the right to take it, according to the unanimous vote from the Georgia Public Service Commission. The agency, comprised of 5 elected officials, oversees eminent domain. Eminent domain, the right of a government or its agent to appropriate private property for public use with payment of compensation. In Georgia, the process starts by first condemning the site. The Georgia PSC members agreed private company Sandersville Railroad could legally condemn 9 properties in Sparta, including parts of the Smiths, for the company's Hanson Spur project, a 4.5-mile spur connecting raw material producers to the CSX rail line in Hancock County. Essentially, hauling rocks that be used to build concrete. The company argues the train project will improve infrastructure. But the Smiths feel railroaded.
If you listen to the railroad folks, they say you're keeping your land. We just taking a little piece of it. To me, we've got somebody who's coming through it like they are. They're devaluing it. They're defacing it. They're creating hazards through it.
They are just one of at least a dozen local eminent domain cases in recent years, from Atlanta to Newton County. Current statistics are few and fragmented, but Atlanta News First Investigates found nationwide data. A 2007 study revealed when eminent domain was used for private development, it most often impacted areas where more than half of the community was made up of people of color. Nearly half of the area's population sat below the poverty line.
So the way that happens is them folk run the country. They make all the rules and laws and regulations. And so they red line you or put you in an area, us, black folks. Because if you, especially like in the South, when black folks meet black folks, a lot of times you get to talking to them, and the next thing you know, you'll find out that their family is probably from the same place as your family is from, or the town that your family may have lived in at a time, sometime in their life. And your kinfolk know they kinfolk. Hell, you might even be kinfolk. Well, that's because, once slavery was over and black folks try to do their own things, what you do is, like, you see a lot of these Hispanic people now and a lot of these Asian communities and Pakistani communities, whoever, the foreigners, they come in. Matter of fact, I work with a lady whose family is from Gaza. And she's talking about moving. She got a child, and she's talking about looking for a house and moving to an area where more of her, I guess Islamic or Pakistani and, people are at. Because she want her child to, she said her child is getting too Americanized. So she want her to know her roots and her native, language and cultures and stuff like that. She want her to be a part of that, not lose that. Which I get it. I understand. You should. Everyone should do that. So, like I said, so she's trying to find an area where her people are at. Well, that's what we did, and that's what everybody does. You find an area where your people are at, and that's where you grow. So anyway, these folks, find a way to get us in certain areas while they sit here and get the prime real estate, and then they pillage and plunder and destroy this area. And then they're like, "What? Wait a minute, we need more land. We need railroad tracks. We need highways. We're not going to put it across our land. So where do we move them Negroes at? Oh yeah, let's do it over there. Let's go down to their place. Hell, they ain't got no money. They in poverty. This is going to help boost the economy, and everybody's going to benefit. But really, we're going to move them somewhere else, and continue their little poverty situations. So that's how these railroads and these highways end up in our communities all the time. Now, that's it. So that's the issue we got here. You got 600 acres. Now they say they farming those. They say they got a tree farm or the timber farm. So they like selling timber on 600 acres of land. So they're making pretty decent money, I guess. But I get into the rest of it later.
In the city of Sparta, where the developers are building the railroad, census records show 51% of residents live in poverty, the median income at $22,000.
That we're talking about Sparta, which is like a small little town. I guess a bunch of little small towns still in the South like that. Everywhere you go, got them in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. I know for sure Louisiana. So they keep people in poverty, keep the land value down long enough so when they're ready to come and get your land and use your land or come and get it, they got a good reason because it's like y'all ain't doing nothing with it. And I guess that's the point I wanted to make. I'll go ahead and make it now. When you have land, your best bet, and we all about, land ownership and keep it in the family generation after generation, that's fine. But what you need to do really, if you got like a lot of land, and I see it's what that this couple is doing, but just not making enough, but you have to find a way to make some money on that land. Because if not, when them folk get ready to make money and they want your land, they're gonna come get it. And they're gonna justify it by there are people, he looked like a guy. I did a story like a while back on how this family got their land taken from this guy, developer or whatever, real estate guy, to build houses and stuff down, I think, by college, somewhere close to College Station. And they didn't even know their land was taken until it was almost damn near too late. And then I think they end up all of it getting taken. But anyway, you have grandparents, great grandparents like this family here, like this guy here. And they have like a bunch of acres, hundreds of acres, get it after slavery, Jim Crow era. And or by like in the early 1900s. And, they have 100 acres, farm on it, have kids, live on it, pass it down to generations. The problem is they call it like heirs property. There's like no paperwork stating what the owners of the land want done with the land when they pass. So they just automatically think that it goes down to the next generation. And, we don't know law like that. So that's what we feel. We feel it's how it goes. Well, you have kids and then your kids have kids and then they have kids. So now you go from kids to grandkids and kids got cousins and aunts and uncles and all this, two people turn into hundreds. to dozens and the hundreds over about good 2, 3, 4 generations. And so now you take 100 acres. Let's just say you got 100 acres and it's split among 100 people. But out of those 100 people, maybe 10 might know about the land and stay close and still use the land for whatever. But those other 90 don't live close, don't know nothing about the land, don't care about the land, don't plan on ever going back to the country. Maybe to when I say country, like like country land, not a different country. Might live out of state. So you'll have a guy come in and look over the deeds, see who owned the land, research, find family members from as far as they can, and reach out to them and write a letter or call and say, hey, you got an acre down here in Texas. And do you have any plans for it? And they'd be like, I didn't know I had an acre. Yeah, it's passed down from your great great granddaddy and stuff like that. But you got an acre. He had about a bunch of land. But it's passed down and you have an acre. Do you want it? Or I could buy it from you for a good penny. I give you a good price for it. Whatever, an acre goes for down here. Maybe even a little bit over cost. And that person who live in California or whatever, New York, say, you know what? Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. I mean, just 1 acre, right? So yeah, just 1 acre. Still be 99 into the family. Ain't not really doing nothing with it. So, you just sell me your acre and that's it. I have it and that'll be the end of it. Well, he'll do that to all 90 people. Or maybe 50 or 60% of the family who part of that family who got, deals on that land. After a while, he'll start reaching out to the closer people, the family who's closer to the land. And the ones that's real close will be like, man, we're not finna sell this. But they don't reach out to them, they reach out to everybody else. Then they'll go to the courts and be like, look, I own this company. This land is not being used. I got 80% of this land, need to build houses, residential area, commercial, real estate here. But I need the rest of this land. And I reached out to the family. They don't know what to do with it. They ain't got no plans for it. And I just want to want to condemn it, eminent domain it, and give them some money for it and use it. And in the end, 9 times out of 10, they end up getting the land that way. And like I say, by the time the landowners, the ones who's fighting for it, realize what's happening, it's all the process is already 75 to 90% already done. And it's really nothing they can do about it at that time. Like this story said, it's like they bought the land. Everybody done give their land up there and bought the land from most of the residents except for 3. 3 are holding out. Well, like the story say, the government gonna be like, the court's gonna be like, nah, since everybody else done sold, and it's only a small percentage of y'all who trying to hold out, we're gonna go ahead and give you money. We're gonna go ahead and take it by law. And like I say, really nothing you can do about it.
We're here in a county that really needs new opportunities, new job growth, new tax base.
And they do, because say 51% of the people in poverty and the median income is $22,000. Man, that is nothing, man. That is nothing. So yeah, so they got a good case for taking that land and bringing the railroads in, because it will create some jobs. You know what I'm saying? To help put money in people's pockets.
Company president Ben Charbutton.
Have an annual impact of $1.5 million.
That could make sense for a struggling town. It's how the company has pitched the project to residents. However, Georgia law states economic development is not a justifiable reason to take property.
It really is not supposed to be factored into an eminent domain case.
Well, they go hand in hand. I talk about jobs because that's what really matters to folks.
Charbutton says the train would only travel 1 round trip per day, 5 days a week during daylight hours, that it would not be a nuisance to landowners.
They feel like you guys are robbing them of their family legacy, of their family land.
Well, I understand that. And it's the condemnation process is a last resort. We have had multiple conversations with the landowners.
While several other property owners made deals with the company, 3 families are holding out, including the Smiths, in part over fears if they give up land now, the company could take even more.
Would you guys come back and take more land?
Well, I don't know exactly who you're talking to, but everyone I've dealt with that's a landowner, we've had very constructive dialogue.
So would you take more land if you needed it?
No, we're very clear.
A claim the Smiths don't believe.
Because when they come and take that property, it's gone forever.
It's why the Institute for Justice now represents the families against the railroad.
The railroad's position is just that I'm a railroad. Obviously, I'm going to benefit you, and that's just not enough.
The attorney filed this appeal in Fulton County Superior Court, alleging the PSC improperly granted Sandersville's petition that the project is not economically feasible and may not be a legitimate public use.
What the railroad has shown is that this track, if it even comes about, is going to promote the profits and the cost reductions for a couple of private companies, and that's all.
The Institute for Justice is using this as a money-making venture for themselves.
Hundreds of acres for 100 years in one single lineage. Altering it in any way is a price of progress that's just too high for the Smiths.
I go back to what my father said: keep the land. The land gives you respect, gives you respectability. Everybody around here knows that this is the Smith land out here.
All right, so let's hit a few angles here. One thing I noticed is I didn't see no other kids. I didn't see no kids or grandkids running, running around that land. Now, remember what I just told y'all about how they come in and they take land from people because family don't want it. Shoot, my dad got land in Texas, out in East Texas, and I know I got ideas of what to do with it. But my children, they ain't thinking about that, but that's okay because I got ways to deal with that. If they don't have any offspring that want this land, truth be told, them folk will wait you out until you die to get that land if they have to. That's how they operate. They're like, okay, we'll just wait. Because if it's Smith land, it should be more than just y'all living on this Smith land. There should be like generations. Hell, if I had acres, I even think now, like, shoot, I wish I would have bought some acres, acre ridge with a house on it and just put homes on it so I can have somewhere for my kids and grandkids and stuff to live. Because that's what, that's the American dream. But what I was trying to say earlier is if you got land like this, like I said, like they doing, you need to make money on this land. And I mean enough money to where them folk would be kind of hesitant to come and take your land or have your nice house, homestead, sell the rest, or even look to move somewhere. Because I'm sure they're going to be offered good money while you fighting in courts to keep this land that they're going to eventually take regardless. You can use that money to find land somewhere else. And I know people don't like to move and don't like to be uprooted and talking about this is my land and this, that, they're not going to take it. That's not really how it goes. Matter of fact, I chat GTP the question. I said, does a person truly own land in the United States of America? And what it says is in the United States, when you purchase land, you receive legal title to it, which grants you a bundle of rights, such as the right to use, sell, or lease the property. However, this ownership isn't absolute in the sense that it's completely free of restrictions. Here are some key points to consider. Government regulation. Your use of the land is subject to zoning laws, building codes, environmental regulations, and other local, state, and federal laws. Eminent domain. The government retains the right to take private property for public use, provided they offer just compensation. Taxes and fees. Ownership comes with responsibility like paying property taxes, which can affect your rights if they're not met. Community and covenants. Sometimes there are additional restrictions imposed by homeowner associations and community covenants. Like we're part of a HOA. If we don't pay the HOA fees, or we don't keep the yard looking right, or if we do upgrades and don't tell them we don't pay them fees, them son guns put a lien on the house. We don't own or lien on the property. We don't own the land at a house. You can own that outright. If they try to come and say you don't pay the taxes, and they say, okay, we're going to take this land, if you're able to raise that house up and move it, which is going to be kind of hard if it's sitting on a slab, then you, by all means, you had a legal right to do that. Pick your home up and move it to somewhere else. Hard to do when, like I say, it's a slab. The point is, you don't own anything in this country. Even your car, you have to register it every year. You got to pay title. You got to pay for tags on your car every year, insurance. If you do not do these things, they can quite possibly snatch it from you if it's on the road. Because I mean, especially if you don't, like say, the title, if somebody gets your title, that means it just gives you the right to use said object, said land, said property in accordance to the law. That's it. So with that being said, like I said, your best bet is to try to find ways to make money, because time comes with change and change comes with time. If they want, they're going to come and get it. Just think about how the country was founded. All this wide open prairie, you know what I'm saying, hundreds of years ago. Now it's just whittled down to just some hundreds of acres that are not used, and probably just aren't used just because it's uninhabitable. But I would say this: if I was this family and they wanted to get the land, okay, so we'll come up with a good price for you to pay us for whatever part of land you want. But what I would do is build rental homes. You know what I'm saying? Close to where the railroad track. Because we're talking about 4 miles, right? Which may not seem like a big distance, but think about how many homes and how many stores you can have within a 4-mile radius. See, you got to think big picture, got to think future. If you really want to help your general kids later, like in the younger generation and future generations, you create something that they can build off of. If you just got just land sitting there and all you're doing is selling timber, which I guess is good money, but basically I guarantee it's probably some other company coming in just taking timber off and they just giving them the money for it. Take that money, like I say, build tiny homes, build you some small houses, and make rental properties. You can build a store within that 4-mile range, or on one end of the track, and then in the other end of the track, where people can live and stay, especially those who are help building the railroads. You see what I'm saying? Because now you finna put you about to because what's eventually going to happen is when you got train tracks, especially if it's in the town, that town is probably going to start making money. And that town going to probably start expanding. So you are like really on the ground floor of development, and that's the best place to start. That's the best place to be if you want to like start a business, start making money. I mean, I look at like I said, where I live is growing and it's booming. I tell people all the time, they come to me with some ideas of things they know how to do, things they want to do. And I say, hey, come here or go to the next town over, start it there, because this place is booming. If that's what you want to do. And right now you may not get a lot of clientele, might not get a lot of business right now, but you're growing with the city. And so as the city grows, then you can grow with the city, and your name has been here since the beginning. Your name will like go out, word of mouth is going to boost your business because the city is growing and you're going to pretty much profit. I got an aunt who has a hair salon, beauty shop or whatever. And she was like probably one of the only people that had it in the little city, the little town they live in. And even now to this day, and we talking 30 something years ago, maybe she started. And so now she got steady clientele, still making money, making decent money with it. And still the same little shop, the same little, converted house. Still making money off of it. But again, she started something that nobody else was doing. And she grew. And like I said, and she built her business like that. That's how you gotta, to me, that's how I feel you gotta do this. This family has to do this. Because they coming. The courts already said they can have that land. They're gonna fight, waste money in the court system. That's the only people that's gonna make the money are lawyers and this organization, like old dude said, they're trying to fight this. Those are the only ones that are gonna profit from it. The Smith family gonna mess around, stress out, lose money, and pretty much probably die. Health gonna go bad because they're too much worried about something that's already that they can't stop. So just go with the flow. Realize, tell people, stop telling the world we need to stop believing that we own land. You don't own land. You got a mortgage, because I be confused, probably because I think too hard. I be confused when I see these like credit card apps or what have you. And you fill out these forms and they ask you, do you own your home? And the first thing I want to say is no, I don't own it. And they're like, well, do you rent? No, I don't rent. What do you do? I pay a mortgage. What it means you're a homeowner. No, that's a lie. I'm not a homeowner because the paper ain't in my hand. And even if I do own a home, I still got to pay taxes on this house until the day I die, on this land until the day I die. So I might own this house. Am I a house owner? Will I be a house owner once I pay it off? Yes, I'll be a house owner. But I'm not, I mean, I don't own, you don't own, you don't own anything. You hold it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you do. You hold the stuff. I got the title, I got the deed to this property. That's all I got. And once we realize that, then we got to start saying, hey, if that's the case, then I really do need to change my way of thinking and figure out how to make money. You get homestead exemptions and stuff like that to save on taxes. But I really need to start figuring out, as comfortable as I am, I really need to start thinking about getting up out this house or using this house to make money. Whether it's renting out the house, renting out rooms, or starting a farm, getting or raising pit bulls or something. But you need to find a way to start making money on the land that you live on. Starting a business, whatever the case may be, so you can have, so you can like write off one of the rooms as an office or studio or something. But we gotta look at it different. We can't just say, hey, this is my grandmama land, this is my granddaddy house, and what I'm saying, they build houses around us and they're gonna make they try to give us some money for it, but we ain't gonna take no money for it. But yet you're not doing anything to fix it up, not doing anything to build it up, not doing anything to build up your community, which is what you should do. That's what you're supposed to do with land, not just hold on to it and just look at it just to say I got it. That makes no sense. And especially if it's just deteriorating and crumbling, what I'm saying, right before your eyes. But you got these developers coming in to your neighborhood and building up houses all around, which is going to increase the taxes where you live. And grandmama is on a fixed income. And eventually she's going to have to move anyway because she can't afford to stay there because the taxes are so high. And you're not putting in on it because you feel like it's grandmama house, so I can live there. So why do I got to pay? And the government gonna be like, yeah, you keep thinking like that, you silly rabbit, and that's why we'll put you out here in a few years because we can wait you out because the government is not going anywhere. So bottom line, if you got land, whether it's quarter of an acre or 600 acres, use that land. If you don't need the 600 acres, if you ain't riding around on the 600 acres all the time and own it, fishing and hunting and, like I say, making money, and y'all just you going around horseback riding all the time and it's just sitting there doing nothing, man, go and get rid of it. Go get rid of a good portion of it. Find you enough of it, utilize enough of land or rent it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure they probably, like say, got people coming and buying timber. They selling timber from their land. I get it. But you gotta look into the future. Understand the kids, the next generation, they don't want that. They're not gonna want all that land. They just not. You might have one or two people who could use it, but most of them not gonna want all that land. They're not gonna want the headache to deal with all that. So they're gonna probably, the moment you die, they probably gonna sell it. But if you utilize it, if all you can do is just pay taxes on, you just keeping it paying taxes on it, it's best to just, like I say, go and sell it, move somewhere else, and don't deal with the headache. Find another way to get generational wealth. There are things you can invest in. Now, bottom line, I don't advise giving away, selling land, but you don't need all. I would say you probably don't need all of it. Just keep enough to where it can stay in the family, enough to where you got somewhere to go. If something happened, your family has somewhere to go and start over and live and not have to pay a whole lot of money to stay there. Because when times get hard, you got to have a home. But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share it with the world. Let's have intelligent conversation. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things cost you maybe a couple minutes out your day, but it means the world to us here. If you like to support us financially, you can give super thanks, super chat, super stickers, and you can go to the description box. There are a couple of links there you can click on to help support us that way. Here, you can buy me a cup of hot cacao with some honey in it. You know, I love to drink that, healthy, full of antioxidants. That's what we do around here, especially when it's cold, man. But also, don't forget to hit that shop button below or go to marlonmorales.com where we got products that I know you will love. We got perfumes, colognes, silk products, beard products, handbags, and much more. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. And with that being said, I'll leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.